When it comes to airsoft, there are definitely a lot of guns to choose from. Rifles, submachine guns, automatic pistols, you name it, airsoft has it. There's even the subsections, AEGs, gas blowback pistols, AEPs. But for those of us that want the most realism out of airsoft possible, there's only one type of gun to choose from, and that is a gas blowback rifle. This airsoft review is going to be on the GNP WOC Challenge Kit, more specifically, the Magpul Edition. The GNP Challenge Kit comes in a very plain cardboard box, with only a few stickers letting you know that this is actually a GNP WOC product. Inside the box, your Challenge Kit comes well protected with some very nice black foam, and underneath that, all the parts that you need will come wrapped inside little plastic baggies, which is very nice to keep things organized when you're building your kit. One thing to note is that the Magpul Edition comes with a 39 round PMag, unlike any other kit which doesn't come with a magazine at all. We're going to be taking this review outside so we can take a better look at the details on this GNP WOC. There are Magpul trademarks all over this gun, from the official licensed MOE stock, pistol grip and handguard, even down to caliber markings and trademarks on the magazine and the Magpul receiver. And not a single detail was left out. There are laser trademarks and patent numbers on the charging handle, as well as correct caliber and twist ratio markings on the outer barrel. The realism just doesn't stop at the looks of the rifle, but expands to its functions as well, from the correct length of pull of the charging handle to the travel distance of the bolt carrier. Even the operation of the safety selector is the same as its real counterpart, as it can only be put in the safe mode if the gun has been racked at least once. Disassembly is the same as its real steel counterpart. Just remove the rear body pin, and the upper and lower receivers can be split away from each other. From here, you have access to your bolt carrier and your lower receiver internals. To adjust your hop-up, remove the lower handguard and adjust the wheel at the base of the outer barrel. All the GNP kits come with a plastic nozzle. This one is not the standard one that comes in the kit. This is actually a 5KU nozzle with the 5KU NPAS installed. This kit uses a 363mm inner barrel. The trigger set is probably one of the most solid parts in this gun. The original set has only seen a couple hundred rounds, but it's held up fairly well, but is already being replaced by steel parts. The bearing hammer set is quite a misleading name, as it only comes with bearings on the sides and no bearing on the top. The hammer itself has seen quite a bit of wear on it, even though it hasn't really seen that many rounds. The selector switch that came with this kit is pretty sloppy and fits really loosely into the receiver, but quality varies from kit to kit, so your selector switch might fit better. The firing block is the Achilles heel of this entire kit. The bolt catch is actually a two-piece design. One solid piece and then actually a second piece that actually catches the bolt carrier. This tends to snap off after so many rounds and should be replaced with a steel replacement. And the firing block itself is actually too high and may snag on your nozzle, so it's recommended to file this down. The firing pin is very good and it only has a minor dent in the front from about 300 rounds, so this is holding up quite nicely. The GNP hop-up set is actually one of the best parts in this kit. It's a two-piece metal chamber, but the only downfall to this is it uses a plastic arm. The arm itself is of good quality, but being plastic, the hop-up bucking is too hard, so it bends the arm, so when you go to adjust your hop-up, you actually don't get any hop-up adjustment at all. It's recommended to replace the bucking with a softer one, such as an RA Tech red bucking or a Falcon blue. The GNP bolt carrier is light and is made out of an aluminum zinc alloy. It comes in a gray finish, it's pretty rough. I recommend that you sand it down for smoother cycling in the gun and better oil distribution. Some GNP bolt carriers may come with the slide lock area for the nozzle deformed, so when you put the nozzle lock in, it sticks out from the bolt carrier and snaps off after, I don't know, like 30 rounds. It may last longer if you go semi-automatic only, but full auto, that locking plate is gone. You can replace these bolt carriers for pretty cheap. GMP one's $25. You can get an AABB bolt carrier for around 10, so they're easy to find. The GMP charging handle is beautiful. It's got laser trademarking all over it and just looks awesome, but sadly that's where the awesomeness stops. The charging handle latch tends to snap off after a while, which really sucks, but your charging handle is still usable, but it gets wear really fast. This has only had probably about 200 rounds to it and there's a lot of wear on it, and this is with regular oiling. Even though this is a version 2 charging handle with a buffer in the front, the charging handles still tend to snap at the front. I've never heard of a charging handle snapping at the rear, but I just recommend replacing these with a real steel charging handle and just modifying it to fit in your WOC or Western Arms. The last thing I'm going to talk about is a hammer lock. It's a pretty cheap metal. I don't even know what it's made out of, but it's chrome looking. This is probably one of the hardest parts to replace in steel. I only know of 2 places that actually sell a steel hammer lock, but this part shouldn't really see much wear unless you're blasting on full auto all the time, so this part should last relatively long because most gas blowback rifle users stick semi-automatic only. Now it's time to test the performance of the GNP Challenge Kit. The target that we're shooting at is around 65 feet away and is only about 7 inches by 7 inches. We're shooting 10 rounds at it, and all 10 rounds hit the paper target. Here's a close-up of the grouping. It may not look that accurate because none of the rounds actually hit the target, but keep in mind the gun isn't sighted in, so we're actually taking a look at the size of the grouping. If you put your gun together using the high power valve, you're getting around 400 FPS. If you use the low power, you're getting around 380. We modified this one to shoot around 325 feet per second. Shooting this gun on semi-automatic is definitely fun, but full auto is a blast. If you shoot on semi-automatic, you're going to get around 2.5 to 3 magazines depending on the weather on a single gas charge. On full auto, the gas efficiency drops and you'll probably get around 1.5 magazines worth. But that being said, this is definitely the funnest gun I've ever shot. For those that want to get into a gas blowback rifle for cheap, this is definitely something to keep an eye on. The GMP kits start at only $200, and this Magpul edition is only $280. And that comes with Magpul MOE furniture, a Magpul lower receiver, and a GMP PMag. It's definitely worth the extra $80 over the standard GMP kits. And this definitely has quality way above an AGM rifle. With that being said, the Magpul edition has an insane amount of detail and trademarks all over it, which is extremely nice. But that detail can also be found in the standard GMP kits, which is also nice as well. One thing to note is that this gun, with all its beauty and performance, is not for those that aren't willing to upgrade and fine-tune the internals. For those that have patience and are willing to break into the internals to make it the best gas blowback rifle possible, I definitely say go ahead and give this gun a try. Mine has already been upgraded with steel internals and has been finely tuned and is becoming a dream gas blowback rifle.